Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hi everybody. Alright, so I've got a special cool treats for you today. We have a very quick week in Bryan, and then we will go into a cool interview with the awesome artist Emily Hare, the creator of the Strangehollow artistic setting that I am very fortunate to be a part of in creating it as a 5e role-playing setting. So we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get through the week in Bryan first. All right, so painting-wise, nothing. I have been very lazy on the painting. I did a bunch of cool stuff for some role-playing figs, got some models and things to set out for me to paint and assemble, and then I got distracted by real life and work stuff, so no painting progress. Personal-wise, same old. Everybody's healthy, everybody's doing good, still going to the gym 3 times a week. Yeah, just I can't complain there. The gaming wise, I've got something cool. Obviously still playing video games and stuff, but I got to play in my wife's D&D game, plus my Rifts game this week. So in the Rifts game, we finished off the dragon that we were fighting in the session before. I know that sounds weird, you know, dragon fight that went over 2 sessions. Our sessions tend to be smaller, or like shorter in time, because several of the people involved in the game have got weird work schedules, so we might only be able to get a couple hours in. So we started that fight in the last session. We finished it the session just a couple days ago, and we had a blast. It was a good time. All of us kind of started to run a little dry on some of our resources, so it felt like a good fight. We ended it pretty much right as the body fell, so I can't say one way or the other. You know, there wasn't a lot of role playing involved. There was a lot of let's do cool stuff. My dragon juicer got to when it looked like it was going to flee, I jumped on its back and I was kind of stabbing it wherever I could stab it. Because I kind of did the whole, I can't let this thing get away. It literally is my lifeblood. So we had a good time there. And then on the following day, we had my wife's D&D game in her Land of Monsters setting. And it ended up being kind of the wrap-up of that particular, like if her game was set up in chapters, that was like kind of the wrap up of the, you know, there's the prologue where we kind of were learning about our characters, getting involved, you know, and then becoming a party, and then there was chapter 1, and chapter 1 was based very heavily around my character's particular god, and freeing another god from servitude, and we ended up finishing up that chapter, and it felt really cool. It was a nice wrap up. We had done a bunch of stuff along the way, and we are very much looking forward to, as a group, kind of going into the next realm of possibilities. So I'm really excited there, and you know, selfishly, that first chapter was very heavily laden around my particular character's faith. I'm a cleric of the Forge, and so, you know, again, you know, maybe, you know, shine the spotlight on me. You know, that first chapter felt really good, and I will definitely I'll be happy to see whose story becomes sort of the next, you know, the next focal point of like the next chapter. But so yeah, we had a ton of fun there, and then that was pretty much the end of the weekend. This upcoming week, I've got a D&D game on this weekend that I very rarely get to play. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to play that game just for the sheer fact that I get to see a bunch of people that I very like. This group only gets together maybe once every 3 months, and so that will be really, really fun. So I'm super psyched about that. Let's see what else. That's pretty much it gaming wise. Haven't even really gotten any like playtest games of Warzone or really anything, and I've been very, very busy. Which leads me to the work stuff. I've been very busy. Combination of getting things geared up for Strangehollow, getting things, kind of beginning of the year, trials and tribulations with Evil Genius, trying to get more words down on the Shadowrun book, the Shadowrun novel, because it's gonna sound so silly and so spoiled. So I signed a multi-book deal for Shadowrun last year, and it was several books over several years. And this book I'm super excited about. I love this book. I had like inspiration hit my brain about the next book that I'm gonna do, and while I'm working on this book, I keep coming up with these other ideas, these other things that can put into this other book, into the next book, and I keep having to kind of remind myself, no, Bryan, finish the one you're on before you start really stitching together the next one. It does mean that the next one will probably flow out of me really, really fast, but I gotta get this one done, and so I've been really trying to focus a lot of my free time on getting those words down so I can get that into editing. Other work stuff, I don't think there's really anything else necessarily other than just I'm setting some things up. I've got some meetings, I've had some emails. I don't know what's going to come of half of it, but we'll see what the future holds. And as I have more information, I will let you guys know about the stuff and the things. All right, so I think without further ado, I don't want to hold you guys, because obviously you're probably here. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to come to this particular episode because they're fans of Emily. Emily Hare is an amazing artist, an amazing like graphic artist, like actual creation of art itself. And when I was attached to the Strangehollow project, I became familiar with her work, and you'll see some of me fanboying a little bit about some of her stuff in the actual interview itself, but which was recorded before I recorded this. If you're wondering why I'm seeing into the future, but we talk a little bit about the world. We talk a little bit about her as an artist. We talk a little bit about some of the creatures involved. And I'm really excited about this project. I'm really excited about the world that we are creating, and I'm really excited to have you guys. For those of you who watch my show for other reasons, for Warzone or for other role-playing game reasons or whatever, I'm very interested in you getting a chance to see Strangehollow and see what Emily had created before any of us gamers ever had a chance to gamify any of it. Just to really kind of see some of those cool pieces. And I'll say this: if you are a fan of the creepy cool, if you are a fan of like Dark Crystal and Legend, Labyrinth, that sort of things are cute but could probably kill you, you will really, really dig what Emily has created. You'll dig that style, that kind of genre that Strangehollow really fits into very, very well. And I can speak for myself, and I can speak for the what of the creative process I've already seen about the setting. You'll get a chance to see a lot of that in Strangehollow, in Surviving Strangehollow, the setting that we're working on, headed to Kickstarter soon, I believe. I think I know it's in. I think it's a little over a month that's going to go. I do know the landing page has already been created for you to sign up. There's actually also a really cool extra page that you can go to become a Strangehollow VIP. It costs $1, but it gets you like limited edition prints, access to things, obviously cool emails, and there's a super secret Facebook group that you get to join if you're a VIP. So expect to see cool stuff over there too. And I'll if I remember, I will try to put links for all that stuff in the description of the video. Yeah, so I think without further ado, let's go ahead and take it over to a couple of days ago when I had a chance to actually get Emily in front of a camera to talk about how amazing and awesome she is. Here we go. Hello, everybody. I know you just talked to me like 2 seconds ago, but now we get to share this screen with an amazing human being who I get the fortunate the fortunate capability of working alongside in her cool world. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to introduce you to Emily Hare. So Emily is an amazing artist based out of the UK, and I'm going to ask her now to tell you guys a little bit about herself. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Brian. It's very weird. I haven't been on anything like this for a while, so it feels a bit like hi.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Most of my fans are halfway paying attention anyway, so let's
Okay, well,
we can tell them anything, and then
yeah.
and the comment section I'm sure will tell us that we're wrong. So
Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say other than what. Well, you've been very complimentary, but yeah, I'm just an independent artist based in the UK, and got an exciting sort of little world that I created about 7 years ago that you're now involved with. So, which is, it's a very weird experience actually, the having other people kind of start exploring the world that I've, had to, well, not had to, but just, it's only been in my head. So having everyone else in there as well, it's a bit odd.
In your head, and now onto lots of paper and other
Yes.
media, which we'll get into that too. I was introduced to you through our friends over at Accidental Cyclops. I've known Jason for 30 years. Just
Right,
like,
okay.
yeah. And he and I were talking one day, and he was like, "Do you know Emily's work?" And I was like, "I honestly, I don't. What, shoot me over some stuff." And he shot me over samples initially of some of your sculptures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was how I was. That's how I was
That's quite
introduced.
recent. That's literally because I've not been doing sculpture well since school, but last year was the first time since school that I got
And
back to.
I was enamored. You've got great little creepy cool creatures, and then from there I was able to walk into the actual Strangehollow stuff, which we'll get into that in a sec. I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that so if I am correct, you are not a gamer.
No.
This is a new world opening up to you.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing because I mean I'm obviously aware of D&D, but I've never played it. I've only ever illustrated like D&D based stuff previously to. I mean, I wasn't planning on making Strangehollow D&D, but you're going to ask me that later. But yeah, I have so many hobbies already. I just don't have space to. I sew and I like gardening as well. So I don't. How you just don't have enough time for all the things.
It just wasn't something that landed in your wheelhouse.
it didn't appear. I didn't have the opportunity really. So yeah, I love the idea of it. And I mean, making monsters is the fun part for me. So yeah, if I can just invent monsters, I'm happy. But yeah, not a gamer, not a gamer with D&D anyway.
Speaking of making monsters, so we talked about your sculptures and things, but for the most part, most of your art that I've seen has been very kind of creature oriented. When did you start getting into art, like collectively? I mean, a lot of people will answer, when I was a child, I loved to paint, but like, when did it really kind of gel and become, this is what I want to do?
It took me quite a long time actually, because I mean, I did draw since I was little, but I didn't really. I kind of got obsessed with it in my teens, and I would do like I'd draw my favorite actors. I loved portraiture and stuff like that, but I'd also do dragons and unicorns and anything horse related. I was a bit, like horse mad. But I didn't, and I did people's pet portraits for a while, sort of through late teens, sort of to midish 20s. But I didn't do it full time. I didn't really know how to apply myself for it to be like a proper job, because I didn't really enjoy it. I was good at it, but it didn't sort of. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I've got another horse painting to do. It's like, oh well, I've got to do this. It didn't light me up, I suppose. Okay. But it was when I was around 27, I think, or 26, 27. And a boyfriend at the time had seen some of my old monster drawings, and he's like, "Why aren't you doing like creature illustration? What are you doing?" And that kind of led me to go on the internet, which was all dial-up then and nightmarish. But it led me to go and find like a message board for illustration and fantasy art, and I ended up on a message board which was created by Liam Sharp. Do you know Liam Sharp? He's a comic creator. Also a Brit.
From Rebellion? Did he work with Rebellion at all?
He might have done. He's done Wonder Woman and, oh God, I think Green Lantern. I can't. I'm terrible. I can't remember the Liam will kill me.
No worries.
But yeah, so basically he's big into comics. I wasn't into comics either, but he had a message board with loads of people wanting to make fantasy art, basically. And I spent a lot of time posting really bad art on there, but ended up working on an anthology comic that he did, and I illustrated like a short story for that.
Well, that's awesome.
And then that sort of led me to going to comic conventions, and I'd sell my stuff there. But it probably wasn't till I was about into my 30s I started thinking, okay, I want this to be. I mean, I was doing it as I was doing illustration jobs, but they were very few and far between.
Yeah.
And I was doing other things alongside. So yeah, late 20s, I started thinking, oh, well, maybe I can do this as a full-time job. But it didn't actually like make me a living until I was 40. So it was a long time.
What was your first, your first, like your own personal art, like release, like your first thing that you did on your own Steam? This is my, this is my art. Come check this out.
I think probably Strangehollow is my first. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly my first sort of IP. I mean, I was doing stuff before then, but it was mostly digital because I was doing illustration work digitally. But I'd learned when I grew up, I was doing traditional media, so I kind of got back into that for Strangehollow. But yeah, that's my first ever.
That's awesome.
This is my world thing, which is now 7 years ago.
Speaking of, a perfect segue into my next question is, so how, I know you said you kind of, you made creatures and things. How did the idea of Strangehollow sort of come together for you? Like when you decided this is where my creatures come from?
It was first of all a project that I did for when I started a Patreon page. And I had a very scattered artistic style, and people were like, you need to draw what you love, and I'm like, but I am drawing what I love, but I was drawing what I love to look at, not necessarily what really, like I love like dark sort of moody fantasy art, and stuff like that. But my stuff always ends up looking kind of cute, or maybe it might be scary looking, but there'll be like a bit of humor in there.
Okay.
And I was resisting that a lot, and that's kind of what happened with Strangehollow. I decided, right, I need to somehow focus on one thing to try and get my style to be cohesive, like to be more consistent.
Okay.
Rather than like jumping around into different themes. So I said, right, I'm basically gonna paint all the inhabitants of an enchanted forest, and that was the jumping off point. So with the first book, I didn't really think about the animals as they were with each other in the same way as I did as it went on. So to start with, it was just like, oh, let's draw some cool creatures. And then once I got to the second book, I was like, all these rules had appeared in my head about how it should be, like making sure that everything, if there was this creature, then this creature might eat it. And how it
kind of an ecosystem started to kind of create itself in your imagery.
Yeah, and I'm very sort of funny about like anthropomorphized creatures, or like creatures with clothes on. Just seems like, not that I obviously just want nude creatures running about. I mean, animals are nude.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
They're hairy. But yeah, I always, there's something about having human clothes on animals was just like, oh no. So that's like a no in Strangehollow. Yeah, just strange stuff like that started.
I will make a note of that, to not try and dress any of your creatures. When we get into the game, I'll very, very specifically be like, no clothes. This is a nudist's game. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so you just recently, you were talking about your kind of the darker side of your creepy cool creatures. You recently just posted something that I fell in love with it. That kind of like sort of like unzipped albatross.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was
the seagull.
I love it. I don't know. I have no idea what it's for. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't even know if it's Strangehollow related.
It's not mine. It's not.
That wasn't yours?
No. That was just.
I got so excited. I thought it was.
No. Sadly, that's not mine.
So I'm trying to tell people about this other great artist that I don't know.
You can totally tell them, and I can't remember the name, but it'll still be on my page somewhere.
I'll go find it. And I'll have to tell people that that's not yours, because I'm pretty sure I attributed that to your ability.
Well, no, it's not me. So
in order to erase that slight foot and mouth, what's your favorite creature? Since I've now mentioned that, I know my favorite, and it's not the unzipped albatross.
Like favorite general creature, because I can give you two different things: the general sort of like my favorite fantasy creature, or a favorite creature from Strangehollow.
You know what? Let's do both. We've got time. We're on no one's schedule but our own.
Okay. Favorite creatures: unicorn, because it's cheesy, and although I don't like the super cheesy ones, the in front of a waterfall or on top of a mountain. Like it more naturalistic, maybe. Like the movie Legend.
Yeah.
It's cheesy, but it's it's nice.
One of Tim Curry's best roles ever.
Yeah, amazing. And dragons. Obviously, dragons. I mean, I don't get bored.
Are you more of a fan of dragons that have separate wings, or dragons with the wings up front as their arms?
Well, people say that they're wyverns, don't they?
I was going to say there's a lot, and then there's drakes that don't have wings at all, and then there's the fulongs that have weird bendy like snake bodies.
Yeah, the sausagey ones.
Yeah, sausagey dragons.
Sausagey dragons. I don't know. Well, interestingly, most of the dragons in Strangehollow don't have wings. So are those drakes.
Okay.
Are they drakes if they don't have wings?
Depending on who you talk to, generally they say that if they're more like horse dragons, that they're like drakes.
Okay, right. But I mean, they're all made up
they're all
anyway.
still dragons at the end of the day.
I mean, I think I probably prefer a wyvern. Like in the movies, they look the coolest. Probably, they're kind of, they feel like they're more how a dragon would actually be if there was a winged, like serpenty beast.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there is no winged creature in reality that has 4 legs, like quadrupedal, and then also has wings.
Yeah.
So it does make more sense to have them built more like a bat, almost.
Yeah. Like what was the film with Matthew McConaughey?
Reign of Fire.
Reign of Fire. They were very cool dragons. It was a good fun movie. It was like
it's not quality cinema, but it is a fun movie. It's an interesting take. It takes
itself a little bit too seriously, though, doesn't it?
In places, it definitely does.
It a little bit too,
I love the concept. I love the concept of them having to eat ash. That they don't eat regular people. That they just eat ash and cinder, and that's why they set things on fire. I thought that was kind of a cool take,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
So unicorns and dragons. I made a unicorn for RuneQuest back in the 19 somethings. That we called it. It was the male version because all of the unicorns in there were female, and so that we made the male ones are big and black and angry, and we called them monoceroses.
Monoceroses.
Yep. So. Yeah. But yeah, so your favorite of the Strangehollow critters, do you have a favorite child?
I don't think I do, I have favorite paintings.
Okay.
But I mean the Spriggle is definitely a favorite because I think it made me laugh the most when I drew it. Some of my pictures, especially the silly sculptures or the silly little monsters in my little monster book, they will make me laugh out. I mean, not hysterically, but have a little chuckle.
You're not sitting in the dark giggling over your pictures.
Yeah, I'm not sort of maniacally laughing whilst I'm painting. But the Spriggle and the one from the cover, we haven't got a name for it yet of what it is, but I mean it's still quite Spriggle-like. So there's a cover painting, but he's quite fun. He didn't make me laugh when I drew him, but that's definitely a favorite painting. And then I'm quite fond of this. This is more of a sketchy painting, but he was one of the he was a sketch for the Caesar Strangehollow, and then I decided to paint him up because I liked him so much.
Now that one's got a name. I remember. I want to say it starts with an H.
I don't know.
I thought that one has a name.
There is one of the sea monsters does have a name, Volgast.
Okay.
But I haven't given him a name yet.
Oh.
but my favourite painting is still this one, which is Maiden.
That's gorgeous.
But Spriggle. But I can't really choose because they're all.
It's like asking a parent. It's like asking a parent to say which one's your favorite baby.
Yeah.
I have a favorite of your children. The Snackle Dragon.
Oh, interesting.
So after I saw those sculptures that Jason showed me the sculptures, I dug in and I grabbed one of the PDFs. Of course, I grabbed one of the PDFs before I realized we had access to them, which was funny. I told Jason afterwards, I was like, yeah, I guess I don't have to get all of them. I already got one. I got Seas of Strangehollow first. I got them I got them in the wrong order. It was mostly because I went to your Facebook page. I found the Snackle Dragon, and immediately I love insects and stuff. I'm a big arthropod guy, but apart from that, I love salamanders. Like newts and salamanders, and that yellow and black mottled skin. And the fact that the little blurb on it said that they're from the swamp and they're venomous, and I immediately fell in love with it and was like, okay. And so I followed that picture's link to the PDF. So that's how I kind of fell into Seas of Strangehollow first.
Yeah.
Insofar that when we had our first writers meeting of all the people working on the game, I basically threw a flare up and was like, if we're claiming, like if we're saying, I was like, yes, I was like, this is the one. I don't care about all the rest of them. You can assign me anybody. I was like, this is my baby, my little slimy baby. And to the point where it's tied into my iconic character that we're writing for it. And like, yeah, it's the Snaggle Dragon is definitely it holds a place in my heart.
Oh, that's good. Because I definitely use a lot of it. I watch a lot of nature documentaries, mainly, the David Attenborough ones.
Yeah.
But nature is always an inspiration. Like that it wasn't the salamander, but it was poison arrow frogs.
Oh, okay.
I think, but I know salamanders come in those bright colors as well. But
yeah.
I was thinking poison arrow frogs because of the venom or the poison. I can't remember if he's poisonous or can't remember what I wrote now, but
something
poisonous. Like only a few things can eat him without dying.
So now that we're talking about game stuff, we kind of bled into the game, the segued over there. How did you get lined up with Accidental Cyclops, and how did this become a thing? Especially since you're not a gamer.
Yeah, well, it was kind of an accident. I mean, in a way, I was actually, I did want to make it into a game, or I did want to make a game from it, but I didn't know how. I'm not a game designer. Matt has designed a game before for himself, but he's never published it. It might never get published. It's not D&D, but I was thinking, well, maybe me and Matt could try and, make something of it. And then it just so happened Jason got in touch with me and said, hey, we've done a couple of D&D games with some of your creatures. We really like it. Do you want to make a game? And initially, I think they were thinking of maybe making it into its own game, like its own mechanics and stuff. But in the end, we thought, well, a D&D system would be better because people know what it is.
Absolutely.
It sort of helps with the fact that it's not, your traditional D&D monsters and things like that. I mean, obviously there's some creature crossover, there's I think there's a werewolf in the first book, which I'm sure is in D&D. Is it?
But there's a couple of different versions, and one of the best things about your setting is even the things that are well known to D&D players, we can totally take our own spin on those and give it a Strangehollow feel. Give it its own its own strangeness, for not to sound weird about it. And I think that hopefully all those things will shine through, and D&D fans will find a cool thing that is new to them, and Strangehollow fans might be able to find a new avenue to explore, even if they just get the books for the lore, the stuff that I want to know about what the Fusum bird eats, and or what eats it. Go a little further into that. So I think that I'm glad that Jason reached out to you, and I'm glad that you guys were open to the idea. And not even just to be self-serving. I think that it's going to be a really cool project. So
I'm excited. It's been initially it was a bit of it felt strange to be not the sharing of it, but having other people thinking about things like having little communities of people on the outskirts. Initially, I was like, "There's no people in there. It's only a handful of witches and wizards that actually can exist in the forest without dying from whatever." But now we've got a little tavern at one end at the outskirts, and then we've got little communities popping up on the shorelines on south. So there isn't anyone in the middle. but there's more people than I initially was. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, but I'm now totally into it, and it's I'm excited to see what you and everyone else comes up with.
Well, my character and his crew live on a houseboat, so they're not in a community; they're on a houseboat. So that actually leads perfectly into what I was going to ask next is because things are changing and evolving, obviously with your say so. Is there anything that you specifically want to see out of the game / the evolution of Strangehollow?
I'm not sure, because I mean a lot of the stuff that I've done in there has very light touch. I've not really described much about the creatures. So I mean, almost any of the things which I haven't written, because I mean, there's only a few like short story. I mean, if it can even be called a short story, or descriptions that are more than just a few lines. So anything really that I've only just indicated something about the creature, seeing some you guys fleshing that out. Any of them, but probably I'm trying to think, maybe the Volgast, even though it's in the sea. I know there's not going to be much action in the sea, but I want to hear what's written about the Volgast, the big, it's just like standalone sea monster, and the Looking Tree as well, which is in the mid. That's one of my favorite, like, I suppose, inventions. And the Temple of Un as well, which I did write a little bit about. But yeah, there's a nasty thing living in there, so that'll be fun. And then a thing that has appeared, which wasn't there before Jason and Mikey got in touch, is on the south coast. We've got a little sort of collection. There's a little collection of houses, and next to those houses, there's a little. It's kind of like so two pillars, stone pillars. They're not man-made, but they're kind of a natural gateway into the forest. And that's going to be sort of sacrificial, or where people are sacrificed. So that's completely new. I'm currently inventing or creating a new creature to go behind
that'll
there.
Be cool. That'll be cool.
Yeah, that I'm really excited to see what happens with that, because I've not written anything. You just decided, oh, let's put that there, and suddenly there's a thing on the map that I didn't. It kind of happened while we were chatting about it.
Now, did you do the map?
I didn't do the map. No.
Okay.
The guy, his handle is Nerdy Maps on Instagram.
Okay.
It's Arthur. And the reason I didn't do the map is it would take me a really long time. My brain just doesn't work for some reason. I mean, I could have done it, but
cartography is a thing.
It is.
It like there's a reason why we've got illustrators that work to do particular concept arts and things like that, and then there's always actual cartographers.
Yeah. My brain. I think it's a very specific. Yeah, it's a specific thing. Much like with sequential art with comics, I can't do that at all. I can't get my head around it. I don't want to redraw the same thing over and over again. I don't have the patience for it. So one picture, and then I'm happy.
Well, I hope that we get to answer all of the questions, and I'm willing to bet that if you sent a message over to Jason and be like, "Hey, I want to know about more about this thing," we'll be told that needs to be focused upon. So I'll make sure to speak highly of your things.
Okay.
Like, these 3 things we need to make sure that we do. Now we get into some of the weird question. I asked you this earlier today to get you to think about this. If there was anyone at all that you were like, I would like to introduce them to the Strangehollow, whether it's through the game or just to, and I keep calling it the Strangehollow. I'm sorry. Whether it's through the game or through the stories or through the art, anybody, I almost stole it from a different podcast and say living or dead, but specifically living folk. Who would you want to have maybe my collective fans to reach out and go, hey, take a look at this thing?
Yeah, well, there's two have come to mind, and it's basically I used to want to be a creature designer for films. That was like something that really appealed to me until I went and worked in a studio for moving picture company.
Okay.
They did Guardians of the Galaxy, and I worked in there for about 6 days, where that was probably 2012. And I was completely out of my depth. It was not, I don't know what I imagined it to be, but I realized that's not what I'm cut out to do. I can't deal with like 250 layers in Photoshop. It's just not, it's not what I'm able to do. So after that, I kind of, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get into movies. But if Strangehollow could be made into a movie somehow, I mean, this is fantasy land now, but it would be someone like Taika Waititi or Guillermo del Toro, because I mean, I think Taika, his humor would suit maybe the silliness in some of my stuff. Yeah, see
And
something
Del Toro's creepiness would fit perfect.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, both of them. I mean, I've not seen. Taika's not done any monster movies or anything, but I mean, my favorite of his is the What We Do in the Shadows, the film. But yeah, I don't know. Yes, those two movie people. Not because I want it made into a movie as such, but it would be really fun to see my creatures come to life through someone else's eyes, much like you guys are bringing them to life in a sort of verbal or a written way.
You get to see it in a media sort of fashion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up on like the Ray Harryhausen. He's a big reason why I do what I do now. And Jim Henson.
Yep.
You know, silly creatures. I love it.
That's awesome.
So,
That's good answer. That is a great answer. And then honestly, as we come to the end of our little jaunt here, is there anything that you would love to? Because there's gonna be a lot of people out there. I've got my wife is an artist. I've got artists that are fans that are artists that I hire for things. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people out there that I always get the question of, I want to be a game designer. How can I get into game design? How I want to write novels. How do I get into that? This is an opportunity for all of those people out there who want to ask, how do I become an artist? And my answer, I always do the canned answer of, if you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be a game designer, make games.
Yeah.
But do you have any bits of advice or anything that you would just want to say to someone who is venturing into the world of art as not necessarily like a full-time gig or anything like that, but just someone who really wants art to be kind of their, the masthead on their ship, like really the kind of the what they're known for? Do you have any bits of advice that you would want to partake?
It would probably be the advice that I was given, but in a slightly different way, which was why I came to make Strangehollow. But I had to figure out what I really love to paint. And even though I really love to paint, like the dark, like I used to do werewolves and gore and bloody things, and I really enjoyed doing that. But it didn't. When I started Strangehollow, the creature that made it like kind of solidified the style that I've ended up with was a sort of kind of quite a sweet looking ogre. I could go and grab the book, but there's this lovely little ogre, and it was, when I painted him, it's like, oh, this is it. This is what I should be painting, because it was so fulfilling. Okay. Even though it wasn't cool. Like I think there was an element of, oh, I want to paint stuff that people think is cool or that people are going to really like. And what I really like isn't the same necessarily. I mean, I do like stuff, like the humorous stuff myself to look at. But the art that I would want to buy is usually not like that. Or the art that makes me want to paint is completely different to what I do. But figuring out that that I don't have to do the stuff that I think is cool in order to make stuff that people do happen to fortunately like. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Absolutely. No, you completely.
So I was kind of like hung up on this idea that people wouldn't like silly stuff. But the fact is, there's loads of silly people out there like me who like silly faces and cute monsters, and I still like there to be a little bit of danger in there, because I mean, people are like, oh, they look so cute. So yeah, it's going to eat you though. Just like nature, there's a lot of stuff in nature we look at and it's beautiful or it's cute and you just want to cuddle it, but it'll eat you.
It will rip your arm off. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that contrast of someone thinking something looks kind of harmless. I think finding the thing that really entertains you is the key. It doesn't mean it's going to, that you're going to be able to make a living out of it, but if you love doing it, it really shows. Like the stuff that I make that makes me laugh or really entertains me, it usually has that same effect on people who are looking at it. It's only occasionally, like, you'll make a picture and I'll be like, oh my God, I've spent ages on this. And you'll post it online and it's like, yeah, that's all right. And other times you'll do something that's really rough and ready and you're not particularly fussed about it. And people are like, oh my God, that's my favorite thing ever. So you've just got to please yourself either way, and just make loads of it, and make loads of bad art, because you've got to make bad art to make good art. And you'll always make bad art. I'm still making terrible art, so it's
and even the things, I look back at illustrations from books that I've worked on and stuff or just books that I bought. There are certain artists that I look at their stuff and that style just does not speak to me. I'm like, if I were the one making this book, I would not have hired this guy. But he's got 15 pieces in the book. Like it's obvious that someone that does speak to someone. So even bad art is still it's gonna speak to somebody.
Absolutely.
It just maybe it was just to keep your brush wet, but it was enough to keep that thing going, and someone's gonna think that that's the coolest thing ever.
Exactly. And just because, I mean, there's always going to be people who are like just a million times better at painting than you, and there'll always be people that's slightly worse or whatever. Just because you're not the best artist in the world doesn't mean your stuff isn't valuable to people and doesn't speak to people. It's the same with writing, isn't it? If some people will say that fantasy is a load of and they don't like it and they don't think it's proper writing or whatever.
For those people, I point them over to the $1 billion Lord of the Rings franchise. And like, sometimes it does well. But I think that in any creative space, I don't think there is a best. There are definitely people who I'll read their writing and just get wowed by. At the time of this interview recently, I just heard about the passing of Brian Lumley. One of my favorite authors growing up. He was pivotal in teaching me how to write, and I've loaned those books to people, and then they've returned those to me and been like, not my speed. And
it's so interesting, isn't it? Like, you can be completely like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, and someone was like, what?
Exactly. So I will build off of what you say in the fact that I don't think that there is a best or better. I think that it's all the creative space is all about who sees it, who takes away. You can make mistakes, obviously. Like, if someone says paint this thing red and you go in a more orange direction, then mistakes to the brief, so to speak. Just like if I'm handed a project and someone says, give me 6,000 words on this swamp, and about 4,000 words in, I change it over to this rando forest. Then I've ventured away from the brief, and that's wrong. But it doesn't make it bad. It just makes it didn't fit what I was told to do. And I think that in open creativity, kind of like you creating creatures, You might think some of them are not your best work, but I'm willing to bet that if you show somebody, they're going to fall in love with this, strange little blue hedgehog or whatever that is happening. And
Well, I mean, the Snackle Dragon is not one of my favorites.
and he speaks to me on many, many levels.
Exactly. And there's other pieces in there. And I'm like, I do them differently now. Like stuff from the first book, there's a few that I would redo, but yeah, it's a really, you can never know what people are going to like. That's why you need to always do what you like.
Yep.
And then hopefully find the people that also like the same thing.
Do what inspires you to create.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do don't try and second guess what other people are going to like, because it's impossible.
Absolutely. That goes on a t-shirt. And that's not even necessarily just an art thing. That's a collective thing. Don't try and second guess what other people are going to like.
Yeah.
Do it for you, people. Do it for you.
Yes.
Well, we've come to the end, the hard part of the interview where I have to say momentarily goodbye and the fans have to say momentarily goodbye. But obviously, I'm going to put all of Emily's links in the description of the video. But if they're lazy and don't want to read that, because some of my fans are lazy, you are. I see you out there. Where can they find you if they wanted to just stop this video right now and leap over and see what's going on?
You can find me. They can either go straight to my website, which is emilyhare.co.uk, and that's Hare, Hare, not this sort of hair.
Hair like a rabbit, not like a wig.
Hair like a rabbit, yeah. Instagram is Art by Emily Hare. I've also got like my own. I left Patreon and I built my own membership, and that's called Mysterious Corner, and that's mysteriouscorner.art is the address. So yeah, those are pretty much. I mean, I sort of am on Blue Sky, but I don't post there very often. It's so difficult to keep up with all the.
There's a lot of social stuff now. Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook as well, but people don't really interact with it the same way there. So yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure, and I hope everybody checks out your art, your stuff, your new sculptures. You just posted up some sculptures, works in progress. I saw those.
Yes, and this is a Friday, isn't it?
This will come out on a Friday. Yes. Yeah.
So tomorrow, one of my sculptures is going up for sale on Everyday, a website called everydayoriginal.com.
Well, fantastic.
So one of them is going on there. So
I know it's going to. Is it an auction site or just a sale site? Like
it's a sale site. So they created it a few years ago, and it's all about sort of affordable. I mean, that's all relative. Affordable art. A new piece of art every day gets posted on there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Not the same artist every day, obviously, different artists.
That would prove very prolific.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, then, in that case, for those of you who are watching the video, here in a second, you're going to see my ugly mug in a different way because I got some other things to talk about. But we will say goodbye to Emily for now. So thank you for giving us your time, taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. And I hope that we collectively on the Strangehollow, the surviving Strangehollow team, do your world justice, and more to hear about that in the future, of course.
Yeah, very exciting.
And we're back. How cool was that? She's so awesome. I'm very humbled in the fact that I get to work with so many cool creative people. In my industry and with my wife's art and all of these things, I've had a chance to meet and befriend a lot of very, very cool people from various industries. Whether it's TV in Hollywood and streaming services and now very, very cool artists themselves. I'm very, very fortunate, and I want to throw a thank you out to anybody who's ever had a hand in helping bring me in contact with these awesome people, because creativity breeds more creativity, and hanging out with people who are genuine artists and genuine creators, and those who inspire, it does a lot for me on many levels. So I hope you enjoyed us talking about Strangehollow and Emily and her awesomeness. Yeah, and that's really all I got for today. So the next week's video is going to be pre-recorded because next week I have a convention that I'm going to. I'm going to Winter Fantasy up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, actually to go play some D&D and a couple of other indie games. I'm actually going to play. I'm not going to work. I mean, obviously there will be some work done there while I'm there, but I'm going to take an actual vacation from all the stress and all the stuff. And, you know, yes, I said I'll work. I'll be definitely still working while I'm there. That never stops. You know, working for yourself, freelancer or no, means that you never actually turn your brain off and you never stop. And occasionally there'll be emails and stuff. And you know, deadlines wait for no man. So I will still be working, but it's going to be such a great time to just sort of relax, play some games, roll some dice, see some friends, talk to some. I get to hang out with some of my Essence 20 family that I haven't seen in forever. So it is. I'm very excited for it. But because of that, because I knew I was going to be gone and I wasn't going to be able to get a video out, I wanted to make sure that I had something super cool set up for you guys as the drop for while I'm in Winter Fantasy. And that is that I'm going to get a chance to talk to at least Jason Ward from Accidental Cyclops, probably maybe even Sean and Mikey, the lead for Surviving Strangehollow, and one of the other Accidental Cyclops partners. I don't know who all is going to show up in that particular video, but I have that set up to do a let's talk about Strangehollow and Surviving Strangehollow from a game side of things. Now that this video's out and you guys have seen it from the art side of things, the creatives side of things, now we're going to take a look and see from the gamification, you know, what we're planning on doing. And we'll go from there. Also, who knows? There might be some maybe some random guests or whatever. I haven't recorded that one yet, so I don't know. But that's gonna go ahead and drop next week. Yeah. So, oh my gosh! I just realized that I never put I never told you guys what the January, because I'm recording this earlier. I never told you the January comment raffle winner. Let's take a look at what I randomized. That's right, that was words. It comes out of Randominator, comes from episode 221, and it is from Void Laboratory. So at Void Laboratory, thanks for commenting. Thanks for being part of the Tales from a Professional Nerd family. And I will be in touch with through your comment to figure out where to send your prize pack of random cool stuff from my studio. So I'm super excited about next week, super excited about Strangehollow, super excited about pretty much everything. I'm always super excited, but I'm in a really good place right now, and I hope that you guys are too. So please, please, please be safe, wash your hands, wear a mask in places that you need to, get your shots, and you know, just try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. From me to you, go have some fun and play some games. We'll see you next week.